I was about 10, 15 feet away from that railroad track when I heard the honk.
They're like, get in the car, get in the car. I got in the car. Man, now this plan is ruined. I had to come up with a new plan to kill myself. My mom calls me. So she told me, I need you to stop asking about me. I'm not your mom. I don't want you. I can basically see all the abuse I took. I seen all that just flash right before my eyes right after she said, I'm not your mom. So I looked at my phone and I said, well, F you never were. And I tossed the phone out the window and I looked at my friend in the driver's side. F this. I opened the door and jumped out. Boom. I was 6 months old when my mother threw me into a local dumpster to a modeling career. From what my grandma told me, she had these big aspirations to do big things. So she got pregnant and that sort of ruined everything for her. It just so happens that one of the neighbors happened to be taking out their trash and they looked and said, oh my God, I know this baby. I know his mom. So the lady takes me out of the trash can. She calls my grandma's church and says, you need to come home because I have your grandson. He was in the dumpster. After time went by, they went to court and my grandma got custody of me. My grandma giving me up because she had a nervous breakdown when I was 4 years old. So she was in the hospital for a whole year. So in this whole year, I was going a couple places. Then I ended up staying with my mom's sister and her family. Being in this place, it didn't really have the best memories. I remember a lot of dark days, depressing days where I felt alone and no one loved me. So I remember at 4 years old, I looked around the house and I'm like, there's nobody I can talk to about anything. I can't look up to anybody here. I'm going to teach myself how to grow up and I'm going to learn about life on my own. About first grade, I really started thinking negatively about myself because at this house I was in, they would always tell me things like how fat I was. In fact, my nickname, one of them anyway, was Fat Boy. They also had problem child, retard. I had so many names that they would call me. I was kind of like the family joke. So this went on for a few years and I seen my mom a couple of times in between these years, but then she would also leave me with saying, I didn't want you and I still don't want you. That's why you're not with me. I don't want you and I'm not your mom. So from young, she was already telling me and stuff. So then that makes my self-esteem like way worse about myself. The thing is with this family I was with, it's like we'd go to church like all the time. And it was so much child abuse, like physical and mental child abuse. It sucked. And I wondered, like, how can these people call me all these names? How can they treat a child so bad? But we go to church all the time. I don't know if God would want you to be like that. And I had so many questions about God. And I was always told, don't question God. Question God, you're going to burn in hell. So by the time I was like 8 years old, I started cutting myself. I spent a lot of time in my room alone. So I really wasn't allowed to be out in the living room with everybody else. About 10 years old, I started writing music because I didn't really want to cut myself anymore. And being as young as I was, I somehow knew that I needed some type of therapy. I looked for like a God-ass therapy, but I was always like under the impression that I was going to burn in hell. I was scared. I was really scared to really question anything. So I remember I ended up writing some lyrics about them and they found them. I was about maybe 13 years old and I was at my grandma's visiting her and they called her. They said, we went through his stuff. We found some very foul music that he was writing about us and he doesn't ever have to come back to this house again. So that was sort of a relief for me. I got kicked out of this house. Like I was happy. So now I knew I could go somewhere else. About this time, I entered high school and I'm in this other house. I went through about a couple houses in high school and I was like very popular in high school. So I didn't have any much suicidal thoughts. All that stuff really went away. High school's over. So all of my friends and people I know are moving on, doing their own things in life. The depression came back. Like I see all my friends have their families and their loved ones and support systems there. And I never really had that. I was in my early 20s. I was, still working. I had a lot of jobs around this time. I got like down on myself because when my friends start getting their houses, their cars, and everything, getting help from people, and here I am playing catch up. Like, so I have to do everything the long way, and I'm all I got. And it kind of like really got under my skin. By this time, the depression got so bad, I started planning suicide. I'm gonna get out of here. With a depressive mind and like suicidal thoughts, you become antisocial. And then you don't really want anybody around. You have this fear of being around people because you're always thinking these negative thoughts that people are after you. They're out to get you. And nobody's with me. God doesn't love me. So all these thoughts, and it's like, if God doesn't even love me, what's the point of me being here? How come my mom threw me in the dumpster? How come my family doesn't even care about me? So I felt alone. So yeah, I was alone. So I felt like maybe the best thing for me to do was leave. I tried to take all the pills I could, still didn't help. I got bored of it. Tried to drink all the liquor I could, didn't help. I got bored of that. And one day I'm just like, I'm gonna take myself out of here. So I planned, do I do like drown myself? What do I do? So I came to a plan that I'm gonna go to the train station. I go to the train station all day, sitting in my just dark misery. I'm looking at every train that passed by that day. And so I can know exactly what time I want to leave to get hit by this train. Just lay down and boom, just get hit. But as I had the plan, I was about to activate this plan. I had the exact time and day I was going to do it. It just so happens, I say maybe a couple days before I was going to plan it, I happened to be at my friend's house. We were having like a heated discussion. I'm like, well, you know what? I'm out of here. And then I left.
I was about 10, 15 feet away from that railroad track when I heard the honk.
They're like, get in the car, get in the car. So I got in the car. And I'm like, man, now this plan is ruined. I had to come up with a new plan to kill myself. So I get in the car, and out of all the times in the world, my mom calls me. I haven't heard from her in years. And I'm thinking like this could be a sign from God or something. Like maybe she could change my mind to make me not want to kill myself. But totally the opposite of what I thought. I answered the phone and I asked her, how did you even get my number in the first place? She said, well, your grandma gave me your number. And she said, you were asking about me. So she told me, I need you to stop asking about me. I'm not your mom. I don't want you. Again, I'm not your mom. So I looked at my phone. I can basically see all the abuse I took, all the horrible names I was called, all the ways I was made fun of as a child in this home that I was living at. And I seen all that just flash right before my eyes, right after she said, I'm not your mom. So I looked at my phone and I said, well, F you, you never were. And I tossed the phone out the window. And I looked at my friend in the driver's side. F this. I opened the door and jumped out. Boom. Okay, I just remember this boom. And that's like when my near-death experience starts. This boom would sound like this muffled sound in the back of my head. So I was like, that hurt. Well, I'm going to get up now and just walk back home. I just kept trying to get up. And then something keeps saying, I wouldn't do that if I were you. So I'm like, man, whatever. So I keep trying to get up and I felt myself pushing out of my body. I didn't know I was going out of my body at this time. I just thought I was like getting up. So as soon as I literally get up, I see my body laying on the concrete next to me. But I'm like, no, I'm tripping. I'm going to go home or something. I'm just going to go eat. I took about 3 steps, poof, midair, nothing but colors. I just seen like black, blue, green, all these different colors just swarming everywhere. It was like this nothingness, but it was somethingness. I felt the most dominant, strongest presence I've ever felt. And I knew it was God, source, whatever you want to call it. It was that. And it was just undeniable. So I knew there was no doubt about this. I felt it. I didn't see a figure. I didn't hear a voice. It was just presence. And you feel it here. And certain thoughts through telepathy were said. So I'm hearing it here. not audibly, but I'm hearing it here and I'm feeling it here in my heart. But everything like that, this beat that this source says is like lightning. Every time he talks, it's pew, pew, like lightning strikes every time. That's how strong it was. All the questions that I've had in my head, like in order, were answered as they were in my head. So he says, let me reintroduce myself. I am God, because I knew him as God. So I knew if I would have said, hey, Chuck, hey, Bill, hey, Harry, he would have said, like, hey, I'm Harry. Like, let me reintroduce myself. But I knew him as God. So he says, like, I am God. Yes, I am real. Yes, angels are real. They're a gift from me. Want to meet them? And I was like, no, I didn't believe in angels. And I thought this was like some kind of trick. I'm like, she's going to trick me. He's going to have demons come after me. They're going to send me to hell or something. Because I thought, I'm like, wait, like in this whole time, I'm like, I don't deserve to be in your presence. Like, let me go back and get perfect. Come back. I'm going to get with you. Let me go get perfect. And then I'll be back. But he's like, no, like, I want you now, how you are. Like, I want you unperfect. Like, that's exactly how I want you now. So I'm like, this is nuts. Like, what is going on here? So I can feel himself like introducing himself, like his characteristics. There was a bunch of words that started flying in the air. So one of the words said loving, and then one said caring, and then you see the other one in all capitals with like 4 exclamation points at the end, and it's like long suffering, and it just flew right by. And that word long suffering, I remember that from when I was a kid and I'd be in church and I would hear that word long suffering. So if I go back and tell people, hey, I just met God, they're going to think I'm a real life crazy person. What am I going to tell these people? So he says, go and tell everyone that I love them. I'm like, whoa. I see this projection screen. And some people have a life review in their near-death experiences, but I had this projection screen. And the first video is a prostitute walking by, and he said, like, I love her. Then you see another guy in he had a business suit and a briefcase. It's like, I love him. Then you see this other guy in a skateboard with like this joint in his mouth while he's riding a skateboard, and he's like, I love him. The way I took that as he has no favorites, like he loves them all the same. Then I seen a guy like carrying his kid by his neck, and he's like, I don't like that. It wasn't like I'm gonna kill him and he's gonna burn. That's how I was thinking God was. But he was just more like, I don't like that. That was it. So I was about to ask him, what about the evil? But before I can even get that out, he's like, he like points to the left. So I look far to the left and I see this like dang like snake that was wrapped in chains, and it was weird. It was like tied up. It's like, I took that as like, you don't have anything, like that has nothing to do with you. You don't worry about that. Oh, then he says, I will go to the end of the world so that everyone is with me. As soon as he said that, I'm like, you can't make this stuff up. So it's like the most dominant male in the world, but then he like, I didn't see a figure. I felt him drop down on a knee and hug me, but it was the tightest, most safest, most hug that's more than a woman. So it was the most womanly hug on steroids. Like I can't even describe the feeling. You just don't want it to end. But as soon as he let go, I'm like, oh man, like I'm back in this evil world now. Like I need to be in your arms like all the time. So boom, now I'm literally in the air. Now everything I'm looking at is like, here's this church here where I like literally like right where I jumped out the car was right by a church and a police station, go figure. So I see like houses over here, and then I just see a bunch of angels everywhere. I know my thoughts were with me because you're still the same person when you die. The same personality, it's just you're not in your body. So the way I was thinking was, oh no, okay, it's over. I didn't read the King James Bible like for a 4th time. I'm gonna burn. That's it. it's over. I seen like all these Bibles just being thrown in the air everywhere. And then I seen crosses being thrown everywhere. And I know like these crosses came from the Baptist Christian church and the Pentecostal church that taught basically even if you breathe wrong, you're going to burn for eternity. But as I'm looking everywhere, there was these two angels in particular that seemed very familiar. So one I was on one side, one on the other side. They're both like grabbed me by my arm. I'm like, no, I'm like, get me out of here. Get me out of here. I got to get out of here. They're like, it's okay. Calm down. Like, we love you. You're going to be okay. And I literally look and on my left side, it was like this one angel that's beetle type of face, because that's the only way I can really describe it. There was so much light to the face. It was like looking at the sun. It was about maybe 9 feet tall. Wings were wide, 5 foot this way going out. So this one looks at me and with a really stern voice says, "Are you sure you want to go?" But not audibly. It was telepathically. So he's like, "Are you sure you want to go?" So I looked and I'm like, I'm going to turn around to the other angel now. Maybe I'll get some luck with this one. This one right here, literally brown slippers, blue jeans, and a red flannel shirt that the sleeves were rolled up to his elbows. And he was super ripped. He was jacked out of his mind. I was like, man, like I need to do some workout when I get home. I'm going to go to the gym. I get out of here. Just let me go. Give me no chance, I thought this one was going to kill me because he was like so big, but as big as he was the soft-spoken one. He says, "You have so much to do for so many people." And I'm like, wait, who? Me? I have so much to do for so many people? Like, do you guys have the right one? Do you not know the kind of stuff I've done out and down there? They're like, "Look down." So I look down and I see my body. I see my friend way over far away from me. And then I see the paramedics over me and a bunch of just flashing lights. I guess it was like maybe the cops and ambulance, the fire truck, all these people. But I'm looking at myself. So I look back up and they're like, "No, look again. You need to see this stuff happens." At that moment, I knew angels were real because they know how much trust issues I have. And I basically have to see the proof in order for me to believe it. So that way I know it's true. They were real. So that's when they told me, "Look again." That's when I knew. So I look back, I look down again, focus zooms in like a camera. I see everything just perfectly. That's my body. I even told my right angel, I'm like, how can I be down there when I'm right here? This stuff really does happen. I didn't know that. Okay, I believe it now. There is an afterlife. So my right angel, my left angel, they both asked me, "Do you want to stay or do you want to go?" And there was this cloud with a hole. I like to call it a donut hole because if I were to have crossed over to this hole, I would have went all the way to the other side. And I knew that, but I felt this urge to go back to Earth because as soon as I heard you have so much to do for so many people, I knew like, okay, yeah, you have so much to do for so many people. So I decided I'll go back. I woke up in ICU and they said I was out for a few days.
Remember them calling me Miracle and saying that we thought you were dead. We didn't think you were coming back. They said I hemorrhaged I don't know how many times. And they said there was nothing. I was gone. The day I was actually released from the hospital, I was being wheelchaired out to the car. So I couldn't walk, couldn't talk, I didn't have senses, all that stuff was gone. And I looked up at the sky and I seen the mountain, I seen the clear sky, the sun, the horizon, everything was just like perfect, but it looked different. I knew there was something out there that's good, and the God that was loving and caring and doesn't judge us, that's when I knew that God actually is the real God. I never feared death ever again after that. That's when everything changed. Suicide is real, and a lot of people don't have the experience I did. If I didn't have my experience, I probably would have been another lost soul out there. I just got lucky enough to come back and tell the people that are suicidal that God, Source, loves you. And There's someone in the world that loves you too. You just got to open your mouth. There's someone out there that'll help you. I was too pretty much embarrassed to even speak out on it, which the average suicidal person won't. And that's when they're gonna do something, because they're not talking about it. I say there's someone out there that does care. Don't be embarrassed. One thing I always say, the situation you might have in life, if you change your thought, you could change your life.